For today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to create a variation on Amazon in under 10 minutes using a category listings report. And the variation is going to look very similar to the one you see on the screen. We're going to be creating a color variation of two standalone ASINs. So at the end, they're going to be combined on one detail page, just like you see on the screen. The first step is going to be to download a category listings report. You can navigate to that by going to Reports, Inventory Reports, and then in the drop-down, select Category Listings Report and request it. I've already downloaded it just to speed things up, so let's take a look in here. So when we get in here, we have our two products that we're going to variate. It's a gray and a red lightweight wheelchair. The first thing you want to do is just go through here and make sure no cells are in red, and if they are, make sure to fill them out. Otherwise, you're going to most likely run into some errors immediately. And then it looks like the products are good. So the next step is actually understanding for our product what variation themes are eligible. And the way to do that is reference the product type, which we can see as wheelchairs, and then go to the valid values tab. And about halfway through here, you can actually find the variation section. And within the variation section, we can see our wheelchair product type right here. And these are all of the different valid variation themes that we have for our product. As you can kind of see, there are quite a bit now that are deprecated that Amazon is getting rid of, so you need to select one that's still eligible. But we're going to start with the color variation theme. For the next step, we're going to get the parent ASIN created. We're going to create it here in row 9. Obviously, the parent ASIN just connects the two child ASINs together, or whatever amount of ASINs you have in a variation. It's not a real viable product. And it's not going to show up on the front end of Amazon where, potential customers can actually see it. All it does is it just connects our child ASINs. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to copy this status to active. For the title, I like to add a short title, so I'm just going to put something like lightweight wheelchair parent, just so it's easy for me to distinguish under manage inventory. I'm going to copy the title to the item name. The SKU, you can just name it whatever you want, but I'm going to put wheelchair parent. And then for the product type, we're going to match the child ASINs. For the brand, we're going to match the child ASINs as well, and just your brand name in general. And then it's the same for the item type keyword. For the ASIN, or for product ID type, we're just going to put ASIN in here, and then obviously we'll leave this blank. Amazon will generate it once it actually creates a listing. And then for the listing action, since we want Amazon to create this product, it's not existent yet, we're going to click on Create Full Update. And then let's just scroll to the right to find a few cells that we need to fill out. And although some of these are highlighted red, like list price, manufacturer, I've never had to fill them out. So I'm just going to leave them blank. The same with fulfillment channel code, I leave that blank. The ones that I do have to typically fill out that cause issues once in a while is a product description and bullet point 1. I'm just going to copy the ones from above because we use the same product description and bullet point 1 for both of the products anyway. And as we scroll, we don't need to add a color since our product doesn't even have a color. It's non-existent. The same thing with unit count type. For the variation theme, which will come up here, we're going to fill this out here in 1 minute once we finish the rest. But this is where we're actually going to send or fill out the attributes that are going to send the signal to Amazon to understand that this is a variation and the different theme and layout of it. So the one thing we do have to fill out is the country of origin. That came up as an error previously when I left it blank. And then our batteries required as well. This came up. And last, dangerous goods regulation. So those are all of the attributes you're really going to fill out for the parent ASIN, and you should be good to go. Of course, in a case where something comes back with an error, just reference the cell number it's referring to and fill it out correctly. But let's build our variation attributes. So for the two products that exist right now in the marketplace, we're going to mark them as child ASINs. And then for our parent, we're going to mark it as a parent. And then for the second column, we need to add the parent SKU name, which we created right here. And then let's go back to the variations. So then I'm just going to copy that in here. I'm going to copy this in here. Then we're going to select the drop down, and as I previously mentioned, we're going to do a color variation theme. So we're going to put it color for the two child ASINs and the parent to show that that's going to be the main variation theme. And kind of the last thing before we submit this file, we just want to go to the actual attribute color for our two child ASINs and make sure we have the correct color in there that we want Amazon to display when customers filter the variation. So I'm going to search color. And I think we have to probably expand. Where are we? And here we are. So that's color map. We just need to fill out color. So for our color name, we're going to say gray cushion and red cushion, just because the wheelchair, the frames are silver while the cushion is actually kind of where the color comes from. So we're going to do gray and red cushion. We're going to save this to the desktop. And then we're going to go back in to add to our hamburger menu, click on catalog, add products via upload, and you're going to drag this in here. So I submitted this yesterday, and we processed everything correctly. I'll show you guys the feed file. The variation is up. I'm going to show you guys in a second. We did have an error come back. It seemed like a false error from Amazon where they said, ensure that the parent and the child share the same variation theme, which is color in our case. But when I reviewed this file, our variation theme was consistent. So if we go to variation, oops, spelled that wrong. If we go to variation, we can see our variation theme is consistent. What I did is I just gave Amazon a few hours, and then it processed everything correctly and went through, and the variations are now together. But as you can see, I left, color blank, which was highlighted red in that previous file that we put together, and that didn't cause any issues. And then the same thing with like price. So this is how our variation now displays. We have our red cushion, and we have our gray cushion. As you can see, the gray doesn't say cushion here yet. We opened up a ticket with Amazon to get them to help us push through the color to actually show gray cushion. But this is now how our variation looks. Instead of being a standalone, it's together. And then one thing we did as well is we actually opened up a ticket with Amazon to help us combine reviews. Thanks for watching. For help with this or anything else on Amazon, you can reach out to us using the link in the description below.